Good morning, everyone. So today we're going to discuss our very first lesson, and this is intended for those who did not or who were not able to attend the Google Meet that we held last Wednesday. All right, so I will be uploading this tonight. So I would like to wish everyone a good morning before starting our lesson. Okay, before we go to the lesson, I want you first to notice the pictures that are in the screen. So please pause this video and find out what are you seeing inside or on the screen. All right. If your mind thinks that there is a chat message, there is a newspaper, there's a video recording, and there's a Pinterest, Snapchat, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, my question here is that what do you get when you see these icons or you see these pictures, including Google? What do you get when you browse your Facebook feed? What do you get when you see or read a newspaper or when you record a video? All right. So you see information. If your answer is information, then you're on the right track. So our first lesson for this quarter is sources of information. So it's very important for us to understand the sources of information because in the fourth quarter, you're going to conduct a mini research paper um, at the end for your final performance task. So you have to understand the importance of knowing where do we get information. And you have a clue na whether or from where would we get those information based on what you have seen on the previous slides. All right. So let us read this. It says here, sources of information. Information can be found in various platforms. Getting information will basically expose you not only in the pool of information, but will help you identify if they are factual or not. So it is important to study where do we get information because some of the information aren't factual. And if it's not factual, if it's not true, it means that it will be useless, right? Okay. So there are three classifications of sources of information. The first one is called primary sources. When we say primary sources, what do you mean when you say the word primary? It means first. It means priority. So primary sources means that they are a first-hand data. They are authentic or first-hand evaluation. So the information in the primary sources came from the speaker himself or herself. Now, I want you to look at the first picture in the left, and what do you see? Of course, as you can read, it is a State of the Nation address of President Rodrigo Duterte. And it is an example of speech. And on the right side, the picture there shows, or it is written there, IFSEC press conference. So it is a form or example of very good interview or communication. So when we say primary sources, speech and interview, it says in the definition here, it came from the speaker himself or herself. Authentic data or first-hand evaluation. So let's go to the second one. The second meaning when we say primary sources, these are sources. Sometimes there's no direct speaker, right? There's no um, um, there's no direct or what can we say about this? Like a really recorded speaker. But the definition says here, sometimes there's no direct speaker, but the source is still a first-hand data. So Let's look at the example. The first one is government document. When we say, for example, the 1987 Philippine Constitution or the RA or Republic Acts under it, there's no direct speaker, but it's a government document and it is a first-hand data because it cannot be erased. They are authentic. You see, this was made by the legislature, whatever committee who wrote the 1987 Constitution. So next, photographs. If you took the pictures personally, then it becomes a primary source. But if you did not take them personally, it's not a primary source because you're not the first hand to take them. Same goes with video recording. Okay, secondary sources. This is the second classification of sources of information. If primary sources directly came from the speaker, or if the primary source is a first-hand data or authentic data, what is the difference between secondary and primary? When we say secondary, from the root word second, meaning they are the sources which provide, this is the keyword, provide discussions or evaluations of primary sources. So they give discussion, they give evaluation about first-hand sources. They talk about first or primary sources. So they are not the persons who took it directly. So these are information written by authors who do not personally witness what happened. So what is the example here? We have here commentary about the film Your Name or Kimi no Nawa. So these are commentary. The YouTuber here in the picture did not produce or did not write Kimi no Nawa himself, right? So he just gave a commentary about it. The second one, history of the Philippines. So it's a history. If you're wondering, ma'am, bakit po siya secondary source? It's because these persons who wrote the history did not personally live that time when they wrote this history. They did not personally witness, for example, the execution of Rizal. But they have studied it from their professors, from books, and that's why it becomes a secondary source. They are not the key or personal witness of what happened during the Spanish era, American era, or the Japanese one. Next, we have here a critique paper. When we say a critique paper, this is the same with commentary. But when we say critique, this is much deeper when compared to a commentary. All right, and the last source of information is called a tertiary source. What is the what word do you usually associate the word tertiary? When we say tertiary, for example, we have tertiary education. It is the root word there, or the word that we can associate with that is the word third. It means it's the third source of information. What is their purpose? If we have first, second, why do we have still third? And what is the difference among them? If primary is a first-hand data and secondary is a comment about the primary source, tertiary sources are the collection, that's the word, collection of both primary and secondary sources. The first example that we have here is dictionary. So it's a collection of words. Next, it's almanac, a collection of flat maps in the world. Next is encyclopedia. It talks about a bunch of information about a certain field. For example, in this picture, we can see children's encyclopedia. So of course, this is an information about the science that is in the children's level only. And the last one, we have here bibliography. Bibliography are sets of references that you've used, and you will do this also in the fourth quarter period together with the research. All right, there are 6 characteristics of information. The first characteristic of information is called accurate or accuracy. These are the information. It becomes a characteristic of information because you cannot say that an information is really good if it has a lot of flaws. But when we say flaws, it means errors. So an information daw should be accurate. So if the information is not accurate, then it's not really a good information. It means that it's a hearsay or chika. Number 2, completeness. Information should be complete with all the details and WH questions. It should answer all, even the tiniest detail. That's a good information. Number 3, timeliness. So information should be up to date. Number 4, consistency. Consistency of information is very much needed because it just says that um, an information is reliable if it's consistent. Because if it's not consistent, it means that you cannot trust the information because it's not consistent. Number 5, relevant. Information should suit the interest of readers. It should catch the interest of readers. Like, for example, what do I mean by this? For example, you have a neighbor who is diagnosed with COVID. And it will suit or it is relevant to you because that person is your neighbor. But if you found out that there's someone who died in America because of COVID, you have no care at all because it's not relevant to you. I hope you get what I mean. Number 6 is uniqueness. Uniqueness, it means that information should be distinct. Okay, so let's go to the activities in your module. So before that, I want you to not forget to write your name like that and your code. For example, B1, as you can see in the screen. Write your name, your whole name, your section, the date from which you answered the worksheet, and the don't write something in the score because I'm gonna check that. All right, leave that. So learning task 2, what are you going to do here? So you have to identify if the given item is a primary, secondary, or tertiary source. So number 1 is already provided to you. Number 1, it says here CCTV video. It's a form of video recording, therefore it is primary. Okay. Let's go to learning task 4. What are you going to do here? So the instruction says that we should read Abraham Lincoln's The Gettysburg Address on page 8. So I want you to get your module and open it on page 8. So when you opened it on page 8, I want you to look at the box here, the gray box, that one that you see in the video. And then I want you to read it first before answering the questions in the left side. So, number 1, example, the information is primary because they're classified as authentic. So, you should write it in complete sentence. Please read the speech first before answering because you cannot get the right answer if you will not get the right answer if you're not able to read the paragraph first. All right, learning task 6. So the direction here says that give example of sources of information based on the classification below. So for example, primary source. When we say primary source, we have here speech. So you will write, for example, this is given to you already. You may answer this. State of the Nation address of President Duterte. It's an example of primary source because it is a speech. Ma'am, if you have a question like, you will say, ma'am, can we also write another speech, even if they belong to the same category? Number one, speech na yung SONA, and then you wanted to add another speech. It's okay. Kasi it's still a form of primary source. Kahit limang speech pa, you put it there, it's okay. Okay, learning task 7. What are you going to do here? So, the direction says, get a copy of any news article written in English. Paste it below, then provide an analysis on the significant information that are provided in the said article. So, write a 5-sentence summary of the article. Okay, what's the first step? The first step is to go to Google and then search for a news article. You can get it from ABS-CBN, you can get it from GMA, Rappler, CNN, anywhere. Or online newspaper of Philippine Daily Inquirer, Manila Times, anywhere. So, get that and then paste it here. Okay, I want you to paste it inside the box. And if you're gonna ask, Mom, we don't have any printing services in our area, can we skip that and not answer it? My answer is no. You will not skip this. So what are you going to do instead? So you can copy the article from the internet by writing it down in a bond paper. And then after you copy it, you paste it here. It doesn't have to be printed. You can do handwriting about it, copy it in the bond paper, and then paste it inside. Because I don't want you to leave any answers because this is a performance task. Just like that. So you see what happened? Paste it inside. And then after that, what are we going to do? All right. So this is the last part of the worksheet. So it says here, to answer the questions below, please read first the article that you pasted. So you read your article, and then after that, you will extract 5 significant information from the article. So you have to be good in analyzing what should be taken out from the article and then write it. So for example, I have here an example. So I have chosen this newspaper article. It says there, Senate expects submission of 2022 budget on August 23, Soto. So what does the article says? Or what are the significant information from the article? I wrote here, the article or it talks about the submission of 2022 budget to Congress. That's it. And then you will provide 5 of them. Next, after providing the significant information from the article, I want you to summarize the article so I would know if you really understood what you have read. So it doesn't have to be long. 5 sentences is long enough. The more brief your answer is, the better. So for the reflection part, I want you to please check one. For example, you thought that the lesson is easy, then check it. If it's average for you, then that's the one that you check. If it's very difficult, then please check that because I want to know whether the activities are too hard or too easy for you. So the second question is, which learning activity is the most difficult for you and why? And then the last one, what did you learn from the lesson? Um, One or a couple of sentences is just fine. I don't need a very long answer. I just need to know what have you learned using your own words. Do not copy from the module. All right. All right. So I would end this video, but before that, I am going to read this one. Push yourself because no one else is going to do it for you. What do I mean by saying this? So we may experience a lot of injustice in our lives. Like, for example, we may think that I cannot, I don't know, ma'am, but I feel like I cannot study long enough. Why? Because I feel like I am too poor and I don't have these materials to help me to study hard. I don't have laptop, I don't have cell phone, I don't have tablet. We don't even have Wi-Fi. But I want you to think that these are just the challenges that you have to face. One day you're going to thank yourself for pushing yourself, because no one's going to, live your dream but you. No one else is going to do that dream for you. It's you who will push yourself and train your mind that I have to do this no matter what happens, whatever it takes. So just push yourself, and we're going to see each other in June in your moving up ceremony. So yeah. Um, Thank you so much for listening to our today's lesson. I hope everything is clear to you. Should you have any questions or queries about the activities, please message me on my cell phone number or my messenger account. Thank you very much, and I'll see you on our next lesson. Goodbye.